break, we heard the stories of two couples featured in the new TLC series Lost in Transition, about couples confronting the issue of gender transformation. Our next guests, too, were once lost in transition, but have found their purpose in life, helping others navigate through their transitions. Here to help us understand all of it are Dr. Marcy Bowers, a gynecologic and reconstructive surgeon, and Aiden Olson-Kennedy, a licensed clinical social worker who specializes in this kind of work. Dr. Bowers and Aiden, welcome. Welcome to you both. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, so can I just start with a few facts about transgender men and women? How common is it now? Because I think a lot of people wonder how common this is in the United States. Do you know?
Well, it used to be said 1 in 200,000 or 300,000, and then more recent figures have said 1 in 10,000, but it may be as high as 1 in 2,000 or 3,000 that have some degree. There's not just two choices.
Getting our arms around it now because it's been so shamed that people didn't talk about it. You know, people didn't, there weren't TV shows about it. It was like this shunned, not talked about thing until relatively recently. And I know you know that because you've lived it, right? I mean, can I ask you how you've seen a change in society in the way we deal with the transgender community over the course of your lifetime? How about you, Aiden?
I think that, I don't think there's more trans folks. I think that as the conversation around trans identities becomes more accessible and more prevalent, I think that people who are having experiences like, you know, the people on Lost in Transition are going to find the language to talk about an experience. So it's not that there's more trans folks. When I transitioned 10 years ago, I was in California, and sort of people think like, oh, California, it must have been so easy. But there's a huge difference between Northern California and Southern California, and I was in Northern California, and there wasn't a lot of community around me, and so I think everyone's transition and journey obviously is so different, but the people around you really are so important in your own process of feeling supported or not supported. And so, you know, I found my online community through YouTube and documenting a whole transition because that's how I connected to people.
Dr. Bowers, I know you've been married for 33 years.
That's correct.
And you transitioned 10 years into it?
12 years into
12 years
marriage.
Into it. Okay. And so how did it go over with your spouse?
Well, not easy. As you can see in these stories, they are very familiar. I felt this way from a very early age, fought it all those years, tried to be that round peg in the square hole, and did my best, you know, not to transition. And then after having 3 kids and a marriage of 12 years, you know, just really couldn't fight it anymore.
And your wife stuck by you?
It was challenging, and but she's actually here today.
Oh.
And
welcome. And then you wound up, because you were an OBGYN, right?
That's right.
So you were delivering babies and you're working in women's gynecological care, and then decided to devote your life to helping other people going through the same process. I just want to get my facts straight. You have performed more than 2,000 gender confirmation surgeries. You're the first woman worldwide to hold a personal transgender history while performing transgender surgery. How is that? I mean, is that enormously helpful to you?
Well, it gives me a lot of empathy for what people are going through, and so that in itself can be very helpful to someone, knowing that their doctor who's performing the surgery has actually been through the process.
But people need to know, and I think we should talk about it openly, because people they stumble on what does it mean? What does it mean to be transgender? And, you know, everybody says, did they have the surgery? Did they have the surgery? That's a no-no. You're not supposed to ask that. It's offensive. And so you can be trans. Can you say trans? Is trans?
Trans is okay.
You can be trans without having had a surgery, and really, like a well-meaning person shouldn't even ask about that. Is that essentially right?
That's really true. Well, think about it this way. When you pass someone on the street, when is the last time you knew with 100% certainty what that person's genitals look like? I mean, well, you don't have to answer that, yeah. But we make assumptions about one another's genitals every single day. Right?
I never thought about it like that, but I guess you're right.
But it's how you look and how you present and what you wear.
Right, and you don't know. And so it's like you go with what the person tells you and try to be respectful. And I think we're still at the place where we can have these open conversations about it and try not to be afraid to ask how to be sensitive. We're back now with Dr. Marcy Bowers and Aiden Olson-Kennedy. Aiden, let me ask you, the surgery is almost irrelevant. It's when you transition from male to female or female to male, it's about learning how to be female or male as well.
Yeah.
Which is an ongoing process.
It is, and it's for most folks, whatever process they go through medically, that kind of is just the beginning, because that's just a short amount of time ultimately compared to the rest of our lives, right? And so over the last 10 years since I transitioned has been figuring out, not only continuing to understand who I am, but figuring out how to do me in a very gendered world, right? And figuring out, well, what kind of man do I want to be? And maybe what kind of man do I not want to be?
Right, like there's no manual. Like,
no, there's not.
You're a man now, and then
Right.
you will no longer ask for directions.
And even that bravado, right? Even the bravado in figuring out like the rules of like how to talk and how to be and how to physically hold my body. There was moments where I had to decide, do I want to subscribe to that or do I not want to subscribe to that?
I'll figure it out on my own.
Yeah, steep learning curve.
What about the change of heart? Is that because that's people who don't understand? They're like, what if he's going to be sorry he did that?
Yeah.
How common is it to have a change of heart after?
Well, it's, gender transition is not like getting a tattoo. It is not a sudden thing that you just randomly go out and do. This is something usually that is fought against, with your own soul for so many years, that when the process actually happens, it really is very, very rare, almost anecdotal, that a person decides to go back.
We talked earlier at the top of the show about mourning the loss of the other person, Is that an important piece of the process, especially in cases like these where it's a couple that are together and the spouse or the partner is taken aback?
I think that there is a mourning process, but I think as a mental health provider, helping folks understand what it is they're mourning, right? Because the person is still there, that we create a relationship with stories. Right? We create a relationship with the story we tell right now, but also the projected story. And when someone transitions, it rattles that story. And so the mourning is about the way we think about something. And when we can get clarity about, I can tell a new story and I get to feel sad that my story has to change, but I don't actually have to mourn the death of a person. And for a lot of folks, when we transition, we are actually the most present in our lives that we have ever been.
If somebody says to the viewers out there, I'm transgender or I'm transitioning, what is the most appropriate response?
From who?
From the person receiving the information, whether it's a spouse or a friend or anybody.
Yeah, well, you have to just, let's break that down. What does that mean? What is it? What does it mean to be transgender? Who are you? But
you can ask those questions.
You can. Yeah. You can.
The person may not be able to answer them in that moment, right? I would love to see a time in which somebody who is receiving that gift of information can acknowledge that that person has really gifted them with something very special, because they could choose to not tell them.
And on that front, on the language, because everyone's still learning, if you were assigned male at birth and you transition to female, you're a transgender woman. If you were assigned female at birth and you transition to male, you're a transgender man or trans man or trans woman. So we'll get it. I feel like we'll get it eventually. Thank you for being here, and thank all of you as well. Appreciate it. For more information, please go to today.com/MegynToday, and we'll be right back.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.